I find we just want to slap them on the wrist and have a problem with that. So, Terrence Deyalsingh, Minister of Health today, the Honourable, addressed the situation and he cautioned young people to, oh God, consider all your grandparents now. Consider them now. All they might recover, but they might not. I want to hear the Minister, Terrence Deyalsingh, calling on the Commissioner of Police to go down there and arrest them. We slapping some of them on the wrist and we jailing some, and that cannot be fair. So all due respect to you, Terrence Deyalsingh, let we stop slapping some of them on the wrist. Make them examples. Just like how we just go into all other communities and make them examples, let us have the same for. You can be pleading with them. Oh God, I see minister, and the minister pleading with we. Oh God, remember my granny, remember your grandpa, them days done. The same way that we have the force to go into the communities and arrest some who's zesting in peace, we can do the same for those communities. Marlon, load up my zesting videos. Let we go. For those of you who want to see the videos, I suggest you go now to Facebook. Search The Street 919 FM.
Yo, better pass the ice. Pretty girl around. Show this some Miami facts. Only club, but we don't look for fight. Want the girls around, we rather look for fight. On ready up my eyes. Just let me say some peace now, yeah. I'm just feeling my vibes, yeah. I'm just living my life, yeah. And that's what keep me alive. You're damaged, feeling my vibes, yeah. And you know trouble inside, yeah. Let's switch up, yeah. System don't want me survive, but we gon' survive, yeah. We live the life we love and yeah, we love the life we live. So we not get away, they make us not give. Money at the mission, not a competition, best believe. Never see the positive, we do only the negative. Don't try, bother we. We feel like we don't like one of we. Doesn't I really care, make fun of me. And I'm stumping my shoulder. Yeah. Just let me say some peace now. Just let me say some peace now. This is the police. Damage music. I'm gonna say some peace now, yeah. Just let me say peace now. Yeah. No, to the party nights. Yo, better pass the ice. So pretty girl around. Show this some Miami facts. Only girl, but we don't look for fight. On the girls around, we rather look for fights. On ready up my eyes. Just let me say some peace now, yeah. I'm just feeling my vibes, yeah.
Pulling for the pretty dance.
Yeah. No, to the party night. Yo, better pass the ice. Some pretty girl around. Show this some Miami facts. Only club, but we don't look for fight. Want the girls around, we rather look for fights. On ready up my eyes. Just let me say some peace now, yeah. I'm just feeling my vibes, yeah. I'm just living my life, yeah. And that's what keep me alive. You're damaged, feeling my vibes, yeah. And you know trouble inside, yeah. Let's switch up, yeah. System don't want me survive, but we gon' survive, yeah. We live the life we love and yeah, we love the life we live.
You think it's easy? Keep it running, Marlon, don't take it down. Let them zest in peace. They wanted to zest. Here, go ahead, zest. This has to stop. The insanity, Trinidad and Tobago must stop. The fact that there is a different law. Let me change my music. I find K-Lion too good for them. Let me go back now into the Zessin Bacchanal. Yes, let me go back there. Right. Yes. Nice. I'm back in the dance with them again. Yes, I find there's a different law for the rich and a different law for the poor. And we kind of fed up with that. We really kind of tired of that injustice. It's annoying now. And somebody has to stand up and talk about it. This is the second zest that occurred in these communities. And I'm going to play the first zest. I am going to play the first zest that occurred where they claim that there was a COVID-19 spike in the area. Due to it, I'm going to play it as well.
Digest. Carnival is a time to relieve your stress. Digest. Carnival is a time we have no time to rest. Uptown, downtown, them want to zest. The old and the young coming out of the nest. Only rum shots and we head in a mess. Put up your hand if you're blessed. When the rum hit the head and the chocolate, the road and the gun in abundance. Whining low, yeah. Whining low, yeah. digest. Carnival is a time to relieve your stress. Digest. Carnival is a time you have no time to rest. Feel the power, nice sweet soca. 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 When him sleep, when me bust you out on the street. When him rest, let me introduce you to zest. When the rub it my head and the truck hit the road and the girl in abundance whining low, yeah. What you call that? Digest.
So they were warned, let it run, don't come back to me yet. You wanted to zest, only zesting. So they were warned once, Trinidad and Tobago. They were warned once. The police call and say, we hear you having a zest. It is forbidden. You are not supposed to zest, or you're breaching COVID-19 regulations, disperse and go home. You think it stopped there? The zest continued from the daytime. If you notice, some of the pictures I am showing shows you the daytime zest, and then some shows you the nighttime zest. So the zest continued even after the police warned them. So much to the extent that by the police reached in the night, zest was still going on. And the police in turn told them, you know what, all you break it up, go home, time to break it up and go home. Well, it had to be one law for the rich and one law for the poor. Because just last weekend apparently the police was only working up in the east last weekend. Because last weekend, 60-something tickets were given out for persons not wearing masks up in Mayaro and them place. So apparently the police wasn't in the west, they were in the east and charging them for breaching COVID-19 regulations. But down in the west, they could zest up, they could zest down, they could zest in the morning, zest in the night, just zest. Digest. Carnival is a time to relieve your stress. Digest. Carnival is a time you have no time to rest. Up tongue, them want to zest. The old and the young. Only share the live, Let people see the injustice that is take place. I'll show in the next video shortly. Keep it running, Marlon. Don't come back to me. They wanted to zest, let them zest. Take the calls, I'm going to the lines. Digest. Carnival is a time to relieve your stress. Digest.
Careful. That man name, legend has it. When you call his name 3 times, he does appear like Rumpelstiltskin, Alright, I'll leave it there.
Good evening. Now listen to Tabakita and see make me decide to send in this voice note. And I want to, because we start a song like the teacher man, and then it reached down to race. And don't miss the point. Yes, I understand all what you're saying might be so. But we have to understand, this location was not it was a private residential area. It's not a group of people went to the beach or went anyway. And if it's a gated community and we have a group of houses, my family come out, your family come out, Harry won't come out. The police can't arrest none away because we within our own space. And they can't charge me. And if I have social distancing, well, I didn't see a video, so I don't know. And if there is social distancing, my family away from your family, we have as a party, yes. But we separate from each other. We might have music playing, yes. But my family away from yours away from mine, and the children bathing in the pool. I don't know how to see the video, but let me go down the race road and one law for the rich and one law for the poor. I don't think if we continue going down that road, then we can't vex with the teacher man. Because then we doing the same thing he doing. Enjoy the evening. Miss Wells, for we to know what's going on there, somebody inside of there had to let out the secret. If you understand, because other than the police could know what's going on behind a gated community. So somebody looking out for somebody. So let me see.
All right, Mr. Barataria, I hear you. But the people who were arrested for breaching COVID-19 regulations in San Juan a few months ago, they were on a private premises as well. They were not in the public domain, and they were charged. The law allows for persons to be charged if they gather in more than groups of 5, whether you're private or you're public. People getting ticketed for being in their private vehicle with members of their family who not wearing masks. So let me do play semantics barataria. Persons who are in their private vehicle, not public vehicle, private car, once you in there and your family members is more than groups of 5, ticket. All you're in there, all you're not wearing any mask, ticket. So I hear you, but let me do play semantics with the thing and see it for what it is. That's 1. 2, what could be the factor for not charging them but yet charging those persons who were charged on the weekend? What is the factor? What could it be? They were still warned. The persons that were ticketed up in the east, they did not get a warning. So we had to make up in mind whether we want to address this or we don't. Because what was the reason for not charging the first group possessors down in the west? What was the reason for not charging them? You know, we need to be real sometimes. As much as we want to be politically correct or we want to be socially correct, we must be honest as well. And the reality of the situation is there appears to be a bias in how the police is conducting their affairs as it relates to these COVID-19 regulations. And we would just want to know. It's questions we're asking. We're accusing nobody of nothing. But this is a public article and it's in the newspaper today, and we are asking questions about this zest and the one before that. I want to go back to the phone lines. Let's go.
Hello, Aisha.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon to the panel and to the listeners. I was here, because we're talking about private and private. I wonder if when they're going to be private after they catch the corona from one person was swimming in the pool and singing with around them without the mask. I want to know if they will end up, if they have a private group speaking on. If you understand what I'm trying to say, the coronavirus is about the selfishness of the human being. They're not going to keep quiet and stay home. They will go about the place. They will go in grocery. They will go in variety stores and stuff. They might pass in a bar there and spread the thing. So it's not about being in a private residence. I mean, it's different. And I agree. Papa G is my boy, but it's looking like if I have one law for the rich and one law for the poor. That is what it's looking like. Who want to water it down, guide them, and they need to start to set examples, as you said, in terms of showing us that it's not really like that. Then. And give me a break with the apologies for how this thing looks. Thank you, I'll make it somebody else.
Thank you so much, brother. Let me see who's there. Caller, you live.
Yes, good afternoon again, my sister.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, now that man that called it just now. Okay. He's saying that they're in a private property. When you're in a car, isn't that your private property? That is your private property, and they tell you how to wear masks. They're in a private property. Suppose 1 or 2 of them have corona and spread it to all the rest, and they come out into the community now in a private spot. Then they come out and they spread it outside here now. What would be the outcome of Trinidad? Wouldn't they not be spreading it? They tell you cannot bond, you cannot associate with more than 5 in a group. You forget all of that? Regardless of where you can't tell me that party you just in and your people one side and the next people there. That joke is party, when the party and music playing, everybody whining on somebody. We have to be real. And so, you see, what get me in this country? Anytime some people standing for the right, some people always go to make excuse. You don't want to excuse. You have to say it as it is. You could charge rich, you could charge poor. But let us have a party too then. Come by me, I go have a party too. I go have a just by me too. And let me see if Gary Griffith and the boys will come and tap us on our hands and so we'll go home. We have to be real. Regardless of who it is, rich or poor, they have to be charged. And I can hear me talk race. African people mustn't talk about race at all, you know. Every other race talk about race. We mustn't talk about race. Because
let me see who else is there, yeah? You guys are on the line. Voice notes like rain. Let me check some of them. Let's go. made them to lie down and apologize.
Hey, Aisha,
because they were
since 2015, 16, I'm a big question mark over Mr. Gary Griffith. A large question mark. Observing.
Not minor. Imagine I saw.
Good afternoon. Let me just make some quick points here, right? And I've been saying this in the longest while. Gary Griffith is a pawn. The way the police service is structured and set up, watch me, it's very difficult to understand, especially if you wasn't part of national security or part of the police service. You had the when Mr. Manning brought in Dwayne Gibbs. Dwayne Gibbs was a good commissioner, you know. But what they did, they undermined Mr. Dwayne Gibbs. All his initiatives, everything, they undermined him inside. Because certain class of people couldn't get what they want. Certain class of people couldn't get what they want. And you know who have to blame for that? The Trinidad and Tobago. So citizens who calling in and complaining now, they shouldn't complain. Because this been going on for so long. I've been saying this for a long time. Look how Gary Griffith been speaking. A lot of wrongdoings where the police service is concerned. In order for him to get the support of the officers, he is trying to normalize it. Once there's a police killing involving a black youth in Laventille, Mova, Sawa, and these places, it doesn't matter which investigation. All he gonna jump out and defend and say, well, look, they shoot behind my officers, and this. He's not pursuant in finding out the right thing. He's not that kind of guy. He is trying to win support by normalizing a whole set of wrongdoings within the police service. So police now feel more brave and more privileged to do a set of wrongdoing. He was speaking big and bold about body cameras. After that, Gary Griffith stopped talking about body cameras, you know. He stopped. He started talking about, a police officer had to put on a body camera and all this bacchanal thing. Crazy? I live in New York. Every officer has a body camera. I sure you travel around the world, you see officers wearing body camera because it helps protect the officer and it helps protect you, the public, with giving some clarity because people make claims and stuff like that. But he making a whole set of wrong the world kind of story he giving why officers shouldn't wear body camera. He is a pawn. Look how police these areas, Movan and Sawa and these places. And look how the police down in the west, certain class of people. And he will come out and all he would say is, well, I haven't seen any video yet, so I cannot charge based on what is in the public domain. I haven't seen anything yet. And 2-3 days after that, it's gonna die down and go back to normal. This is how he is. He is a talker. Stephen Williams was in the job and it was in the hot seat for a very long time. And I understand why Mr. Stephen Williams was doing the things he was doing and was remaining more silent. Gary Griffith just talking, you know. He just talking, but he making no real changes to the police service. And is the public to blame? Because they're supposed to demand regulations and laws and things pertaining to policing. You understand? Because if the way Gary Griffith encouraging one shot, one kill and on all this bacchanal thing, you don't police like that at all. You're setting the wrong example. And each and every time something like this happens, where one downplay it and talk about public opinion and this and that, before with the shooting and make a claim to say, look, one of your seniors was found in wrongdoing, it's in the public interest, he's a public officer, at the end of the day, a public servant. He tried to ridicule, he prefer to ridicule the PCA instead of coming out and say, well, look, here we're gonna look into it and we're gonna take necessary precautions. This is the kind of man he is. And he been so. Gary Griffith didn't come from Mova and Laventille and these places, you know. He come from a certain class of people. Watch his upbringing. So you can't expect him to just be a police officer for all the people when he didn't know how to, when he didn't mix and mingle with all the people.
Caller, you live.
Sister Aisha.
Good afternoon.
Tabakit back. Is where you from, Barataria? Yeah, you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Barataria right in the head?
Yeah, you're very right in the head.
Aisha Welsh, you know David Mohammed, from time to time he would say something on his program. He said the Syrian community do not need to come
to the public or on a program to defend themselves because there is house slaves to defend them. And I, Tabaki, saying this evening, the National Security Minister is not going to call Gary Griffith to do anything. You see, I want to be real this evening, you know. And who come after me? You see, this evening, I coming out rotted. I didn't come out rotted for a while. These people are the owners of Trinidad and Tobago. And any Prime Minister comes there, regardless of who it is, they call the shots. So your grandchildren and your children, and understand something. Gary Griffith is a creature from the oligarchies, the same parasitic oligarchies, the same draft players, the people who call the shots. Let me say this, Trinidad, or they wake up. I sure you're familiar with the term, you could freeze an economy and shut down a country.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Thank you. So understand now, if that is the case, let me say something what I said on David Mohammed program last night. The word atrocity, which have been infiltrated, and the hidden hands, that drives the economy. If I could take up my phone and call any Prime Minister, hey, you dare not touch my children. You dare not touch my grandchildren. Give me a break. I said, Barataria, Tabaki say you're a house slave. Take it out and off.
You see how you start your bacchanal and when you're done, you're out and off. Do not call Barataria a house slave. I will not encourage any of the name calling. You know me and Barataria doesn't always be on the right side of the fence, but he's entitled to his view. Yeah, he's entitled to his view, so let's not attack him for his view. Alright, let's not attack him for his view. Barataria is entitled to his view. Loudy man Tabaki, don't call him a house slave. I won't condone it.
Yeah, I share with me. I share the same thing when the police and went in Lavanti and the boys just playing cards and they shoot down the boy and kill them. And after now they went in the west and catch them people with ones that are automatic gun and all kind of big daughter and this who stepdaughter. Not a man get shoot, not a man get arrested. I mean people going away. So that's how the police operating. One rule for the rich and one rule for the poor. Kill the poor and let go the rich. Thank you.
And it's a frightening thing when the population believes that the police service that is supposed to protect and serve with pride may not be protecting and serving in their best interest. Only understand the position that we are in as a society, all joke aside, all zest talk aside. From the time the population is of the opinion that the police service may not protect and serve them with pride, then we're in a problem. Then we're in a serious problem. Caller, you live.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Right. I have a problem with Gary Griffith too, you know. And what I am about to say is what was printed in The Guardian by Mark Bassan on the 26th of July, 2020. I have not put in your station into any dispute. This was printed in The Guardian. Mr. Gary Griffith and the fraud squad, they went to Marlene McDonald residence at 4 o'clock in the morning. Wake her up, cartwheel her down to the station, and 8 days after, they charge her for money laundering and corruption. Magbasan wrote where $703,000 was placed into the account of Mr. Paddy Padarat. He in turn said, when he was questioned, he said that his mother, he's a one child, and his mother gave him that $703,000 as a gift for his birthday. He in turn gave Ms. Kamla Prasad Bisesa $135,800. And I checked. When they asked him about it, he said he knows nothing about that. When they asked the opposition leader, Ms. Bisesa, she said that money was repayment for an international Visa card, which she lent him to travel with. I am calling on the fraud squad I am calling on Mr. Gary Griffith to continue whatever investigation there is. Don't let it be one-sided, and let this country know what is taking place. You all have a good day.
Thank you so much. And he has a point. You see, once there's an apparent bias, people have a right to ask questions. So you go to Marlene McDonald's home in the middle of the night and you carry she down. Right? Not only her spouse and all who you know was in the whole quandary. How many days she spent in police custody so you can carry out proper investigations. But here you have another situation occurring of similar nature. And persons were made to answer in the public domain and not a question about it. I don't give the caller wrong for asking questions, and that is what brings me back to the point I made a short while ago. When there is a perception that the law may not work for you, it gives you a it angers you. It angers you. So what is good for Marlene McDonald may not be good for others. Come on, Ole, give me a break. Something in right somewhere. Something in right somewhere. Caller, you live.
Hi, Joel.
Hey, how you doing, mommy?
Good afternoon to you. How is your kid?
Them boys and them good, you know.
Hi, Joel. I want to ask you a question here this afternoon.
Sure.
You think you're going to see your children bathing on the beater?
If I see what, sorry?
You think people could have seen your children bathing in sea on the beater?
No, they couldn't.
Thank you. Me and my own land.
Right.
You see with black skin, young people, and we black skin goes nowhere. Let me tell you something. Now, the fellow who called just to the center of Gary went to Marlene at her residence. Let him find out that this Gary was in Trinidad and Tobago when she was arrested. You hear what I'm telling you? I'm telling it after. When she was arrested, Gary was in Trinidad and Tobago. And Tabaki, you can't tell nobody nothing. You understand? When you look at Tabaki, you are too strong. You calling on different sections and different things. What that is studied in last 7 years in a shed, whining by yourself and putting out your tongue and calling on Mr. Boy. I gone.
Mommy, you need to, you know. Oh, God, boy. Marlon, get ready to line up my C-Lot's video, please.
Everybody merry home, merriness you can call with that. Hey, a man walk down the street and says, I'm not going home anymore. Too much a gal in the middle now. If I'm looking real nice so far, I need a shot of Hennessy, some kind of rum in my system. Don't want to end up being left out of the big yard. Fed in the moonlight, wine away, we blessing shore. Take a wine with me, baby. Take down the cops away from me. I just love soca music and to jump with everyone. Carnival in Trinidad, you can get your long lost pal. Everybody merry home, merriness you can call with that. Carnival in Trinidad, you can meet your long lost pal. Everybody merry home, merriness you can call with that. Hey, a man walk down the streets and says, nothing is sweet like Trinidad, nothing is sweet like snow cone. Corn soup and doubles in demand. Everyone here is family. Once you tell them wind them on the ground, we full up of vibes to wake it up. Masquerade is ready, fed from January, and we ready to perform. Give it all before Wednesday.
Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm going to go back to some comments. Alison Lara says, Aisha, I agree with you on YouTube. Anil Rayon says, good program, Aisha, as always. Anil Lara says, caller, I'm sorry, but Dr. Rowley bounced his head by picking Gigi from day one. I seen so. Angela Hamilton said, good afternoon, Aisha. You are so right. There's one law for the rich and a apparent one for the poor. Rui Trudy says, caller, I agree with you 100%. While Famous Us says, good day, people. The police have to question Camille. Oh, God. How can you bring poor Camille in this all of a sudden? We talking about the Bacchanal in the West with the COVID breach. Yeah, Rupert L. Gibbs says, it's lackery. It's lackery. All right, Marlon, where my video, Marlon? I want the video of C-Lot, so put it back up on the screen, yeah? So what you're seeing on your screen now is the young people that was arrested. Well, let me not say arrested. They were brought into question by the police on April 19th, 2020 in the Sealots area for breaching COVID-19 regulations. Ran down with guns by police, put to lie down on the show and apologize for their breach. I am showing the video right now on our YouTube and Facebook pages. Go up there and take a look right now. Watch the difference between the zest that occurred on the weekend and what's happening with those youngsters out there in Sealots.
Feel the power, feel the power, feel the power, nice sweet soca. Feel the power, sweet soca. Tuesday morning we coming down, truck passing through Chinatown. Glass in my hand, sipping me rum, and I'm not running from the sun. Rum in my veins and in my face. I hope I might be out of place. I take in that wine, don't watch no face. I know I would have okay in the right place. Digest, 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 digest. Feel the power, feel the power, feel the power, nice sweet soca. Feel the power, feel the power, feel the power, nice sweet soca. Feel the power, feel the power, feel the power, nice sweet soca. Feel the power.
The real select.
All right, so give me the one with the zest on the weekend now. Run it back to back. Run it back to back, Marlon.
And I'm not running from the sun. Rum in my veins and in my face. I hope I might be out of place. I take in that wine, don't watch. Digest, digest, digest. Digest, digest, digest. Digest, digest, digest. Carnival is a time we have no time to rest. Up tongue, down tongue, them want to zest. The old and the young coming out of the nest. Only rum shots and we head in a mess. Put up your hand if you're blessed. When the rum hit my head and the truck hit the road and the gun in abundance whining low, yeah. Whining, feel the power, feel the power, nice sweet soca. Feel the power, feel the power, feel the power. Even if sleep when me.
Anyone. Police arrived, and by the time the police come, the party still was going on, and then they were told to go home. So what could be the difference in those two videos? Play them again and I'm coming back to the lines.
They said nobody would not know they went and bathed there, you know, and put it up on today. Because he didn't know that until the person put up the video and we
Hi, good afternoon, Aisha. So you see how unbalanced something. I could tell you about an incident, what happened with my grandson. And you know, they had a law that you cannot be outside by 5 o'clock with the COVID. That is when this COVID now come out. And a set of people by the house by the week, right? My grandson was quite out by the corner from the week. He was by the corner from the week. He wasn't even in the week, in the daytime. It wasn't even 5 as yet in the day. He was standing with two people by the corner. Where he was standing, it could be about, about 4 or 5 houses before he could, if he had to go in there, it's for 5 houses he have to pass to reach to go by this way. And he was not there, he was by the corner, it had witnesses. And the police came, see him by the corner, stand up, pick him up, put him in the jeep, drive in the road with him, right? And carry him by the house and charge my grandson together with some other people who were by the week. And that is just how unbalanced and unfair this police service is. And up to this day, the court matter, what they charge him for? COVID-19 restrictions. That is what they charged my grandson for. They didn't even know what to charge the boy for. He was not by no week. He was quite out by the corner, and they charged the boy. That is so unfair. And when you go up on Facebook about 2 to 3 days after, some doubles man from Chaguanas had got gunned down, and they had a big ceremony for the boy, and nobody had on mask. Was the boy funeral? Nobody had on mask. It had more than 100 people. I called Google. I messaged Google. I called Google on Google show. I told Google when Mr. X was here in the evening. I told Mr. X, and Mr. X and all see it, and I show Alexander Gary Griffith and everybody know about it, and nobody did nothing about it. That is how unfair the police service is.
And the reason why we highlight these things is to make sure the police service understand that the public is aware of the injustice. That's all we're doing. But you have to fix a problem if you first admit there is one. And we are admitting that there are some clear biases that occur, and we just need you to address them. That's it. Nobody in mad at the police service. But we just need to understand what is the difference when these things happen in those communities and when they happen in ours. That's all we want to know. I'm going to read some comments on YouTube. Kevin Hercules says, you remember when a certain businessman's son was charged for something and the entire page was ripped out of the station diary? That is Trinidad and Tobago for your money. Famous Us says, the difference I see in the video is the ones on the left, is the ones on the beach is left foot and the swimming pool is right foot. Famous, you always off. Albert Montano said Trinidad and Tobago has been getting this treatment for so long. I remember I am 75 years in October, still afraid of changing the government. Braveheart says at Kevin Hercules, the police were set up to oppress Africans in TNT. This is how it was in the beginning and it would continue to be so. Gary cannot change the police service. He is just a talker. While Maitland Sebro says, hope they're not blocking the video. Rupert L. Gibbs says, totally unfair. When this is a concern, I now see Gigi differently. Send those messages to 771-1791. Let me go to the phone lines. Call A Live.
Yes, good afternoon, Aisha, and to everyone.
Good afternoon.
In my opinion, the African is always at the bottom. Everybody else could do what they want, and it's either the police going wrong and wrong, or the eyes closed, but when it's the African, they're very prompt. If it's fraud or anything, they're very quick to get everything straightened out. But Syrian, Indian, they keep forgetting the Indians. They're only talking about the Syrian, but then there's actually like the 1% too. The only thing them against the 1% for, because they figure the 1% are not higher than them. But give them a chance. Them doing the same thing as the 1%. So all of them to me, same like a Lutla. Thank you.
So I watch the video, what you know show on Facebook, and so you see why he in why nobody in get charged, right? Because how it look like they better than, I don't know how to put this thing, but I am annoyed about it because yes, it clearly showing where African people is being oppressed by certain things what going on here. What good for one, good for all. You understand? What good for one, good for all. Right? You could clearly see why these people look at what's going on. And no police ain't going to charge these people and them. But if it's an African community, they're coming in and they're treating African people, children, like if they're dogs.
Good afternoon, Miss Wells. I am a first-time caller to your program, but I've called other programs in the past. With this conversation with the ladies partying and men partying over the weekend, regardless whether it's a private property or not, they're not supposed to gather more than 5 persons at a time. And I think you're all right. The law shouldn't be for one and not the other. The law should be for everyone. If we're supposed to congregate only 5 persons, why there are so many people together at a pool party, regardless whether it's a private residence or not? The law is the law, okay? And then I have this problem with Mr. Tabakit. Mr. Tabakit, how dare you call people name? You calling the gentleman, Mr. Barataria, a house slave? You're a grown man. Come on, I listen to you on programs. I listen to you over and over on different radio stations. And you know, when it's not in your, when things are not going your way, you're going to call in these names. Miss Wells, you need to block some of these people from doing that. They're not supposed to do that. You know, why would he call the gentleman a house slave? Do you know, Mr. Barataria, to call him that, Mr. Tabakit? Come on, man, you're grown. Let's not get personal. If you get the opportunity to call into a radio station to make your comment and to state something, there's no need to call people names. And that's the divide you people are doing in Trinidad and Tobago. You're creating a divide amongst yourselves. You live there. You shouldn't be operating in that way. Come on, man, grow up.
Shawaz, good afternoon. Aisha, you know the prison was not built for those people who was by the pool. I don't know when it's going to get to the heads of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The prison was not built for those people, for those children. You understand? For them or their parents. The prison was built for the people who was on CELAT. You understand? Punishment wasn't made for them. It was made for people who look like me and you. Right? And thirdly, isn't even about the people that work in. Everybody blaming Gary, but this is bigger than Gary. Gary come and meet it like this. He can't change it. All they're going to do is get rid of him if he even try. So Gary is looking out for his job. Right? Because at the end of the day, he had to see about his job. He had to see about himself. Right? All those people have to do is make a call and things change. That's why they know they cannot do it. The law is the law. If they say no zessing, no zessing. Things like this will never happen in places like North Korea and in places. When North Korea and them make law, the law goes to everyone. In Trinidad and Tobago, they really just do what they want. Right? It's the poor have to suffer. The poor will continue suffering in Trinidad and Tobago.
I know I would have okay in the right place. Digest, cannibalism.
They talk, you talk, come talk with us. On the street, 919 FM. The views expressed